Indiana Fever just put on a show.
Caitlin Clark destroyed the Dallas Wings.
Caitlin Clark in 24 minutes.
3 rebounds, 13 assists, 5 steals.
It was beautiful work all the way around.
It was a performance of the ages.
Caitlin Clark reminded everybody who she is through her playmaking.
This game was an absolute blowout.
CC controlled this game.
She didn't just win, she took over. Caitlin Clark walked onto that court and made it crystal clear. There's no debate, no rivalry, no comparison.
What an epic game. What a basketball game we seen. Caitlin Clark was ecstatic.
This is what it looks like when they let Caitlin Clark run the show.
Paige Bueckers put up numbers, sure, but while Paige was fighting for relevance, Caitlin was rewriting the game in real time.
There are levels to basketball, and there are levels between Caitlin Clark and Paige Bueckers.
I don't believe there is a team in this league that can beat the Indiana Fever.
If you're riding 100% for Caitlin, drop a 100% in the comments, because after that performance, everyone saw who the real leader is.
Caitlin Clark running the show.
Caitlin Clark showed y'all. She the best that ever did it and got away with it.
You can argue opinions all day, but the numbers, they don't lie. Caitlin Clark didn't just beat Paige Bueckers. She put up a historic stat line that
Caitlin Clark is now has the 5th most double-doubles with points and assists in WNBA history.
left no room for debate.
Caitlin Clark, just incredible game.
In just 24 minutes, Caitlin dropped 14 points, 13 assists, 5 steals, and a block.
Caitlin Clark could have broke the assist record. She played 24 minutes. If the 3 players made wide open layups from Caitlin, she would have had 16 assists in 24 minutes.
She had 13 damn assists, double, CC, 14 points.
Let that sink in. She barely played 3 full quarters and still came close to generating nearly 2 points per minute.
Caitlin Clark in 24 minutes, 14, 13, and 5.
Caitlin Clark, good Lord, what a game. 3 rebounds, 13 assists, 5 steals, a block shot, and 14 points.
That kind of production is absurd at any level.
The fastest to do so in a single season in WNBA history. She missed 10 games.
Let alone the pros. And this wasn't a one-off. Over the last 2 games, Caitlin has posted a combined 22 assists to only 4 turnovers.
Caitlin has a 13-to-2 assist-to-turnover ratio. 123 points. They put up 123 points through 4 quarters.
Only had 2 turnovers this game.
That's a staggering 11-to-2 assist-to-turnover ratio, which puts her in a category of her own. For comparison, most elite guards would be thrilled with 2-to-1 or 3-to-1. Caitlin is beyond that. Her ability to take care of the ball while creating constant offense makes her the most efficient playmaker on the floor.
Caitlin Clark has reached 200 points and 100 assists this season, the fastest to do so in a single season in WNBA history.
Not just in this game, but in the league right now. Now contrast that with Paige. Yes, she had 21 points and a couple of assists, but let's be honest, those were empty stats. She wasn't setting the tone or controlling the offense. She was playing catch-up, making isolated buckets while Caitlin was already 5 plays ahead. And when you really dissect the tape, you'll see the difference isn't just what they score, it's what they generate. Caitlin's passes led to wide-open layups, clean 3-point shots, and fast breaks.
That ball in Clark's hands, she is going to find the person to pass to or score. That's what makes her elite.
9 of her assists alone resulted in direct, uncontested points. That's nearly 20-plus points created just off her passing, not even counting her own scoring. And here's the kicker. Caitlin did all of this without even shooting particularly well. That's how dangerous she is. Even when her shot isn't falling, she still finds a way to dominate every inch of the court.
The backing down of the ball. Back down, Jordan fadeaway, boom.
She's not just filling a box score, she's bending the game around her will. Paige is talented. That's not up for debate. But Caitlin Clark, she's generational. She's setting records, leading her team, and changing how the game is played, all while staying calm under pressure and making it look effortless. The stats don't just favor her, they scream her name. And the rest of the league better take notes.
You see those throw ahead passes? Nobody else in the league is making those passes. This was a spectacular performance by Caitlin Clark.
From the opening tip, it wasn't just a game, it was a masterclass. Caitlin Clark didn't need to outscore Paige Bueckers to prove she was on another level. She did it with precision, vision, and complete control of the court. While Paige dropped a respectable 21 points, most of it came quietly, and too much of it came during garbage time.
She did a 15 going into garbage time, so I don't care that she has extra points in garbage time.
When the game was already out of reach. Caitlin, on the other hand, dictated every moment. She wasn't just playing, she was orchestrating. This wasn't about stats, it was about presence. Paige had flashes, a few buckets here and there, but her impact stopped at the scoreboard. Caitlin's fingerprints were all over the game.
Not to mention, she played very well defensively. The real difference with Caitlin Clark.
Controlling pace, setting up teammates, pushing the ball in transition, and breaking down the defense before they even realized what hit them. While Paige settled for jumpers and struggled to finish at the rim, Caitlin was threading full-court passes, dropping dimes, and dragging defenders out of position with pure basketball IQ. Paige might be a solid two-guard, but Caitlin is the engine. She's the playmaker, the scorer, and the leader all in one. And that's the gap. This wasn't just a win, it was a reminder. You don't compare a Ferrari to a bicycle.
There are levels to basketball, and there are levels between Caitlin Clark and Paige Bueckers.
This is where the conversation starts to crumble for anyone still trying to compare Paige Bueckers to Caitlin Clark. Because once you step beyond the surface level highlights and look deeper into how these two impact the game, you start to see it clearly. Paige isn't built to carry a team the way Caitlin is. Not mentally, not physically, not tactically. Paige is, at her best, a polished scoring guard. She's got a smooth jumper, a strong mid-range pull-up, and can catch fire in spurts. But she's not a floor general. She's not a system operator. She's not someone who elevates the entire structure around her. That role, the weight of expectations, the ability to think and act 3 steps ahead, to bring cohesion to chaos, that belongs to Caitlin.
The difference is the engine. Caitlin Clark is relentless.
Let's break it down. Paige often plays like a classic two-guard forced into a one-guard role. She can run plays, sure, but she doesn't generate them. Her vision is limited to the first read, maybe the second. Caitlin, on the other hand, sees the whole floor, every movement, every rotation, every weak side collapse, and she weaponizes that vision. While Paige is reacting, Caitlin is orchestrating, and that's the difference between a scorer and a leader. Take the Dallas game. Paige finished with 21 points, which on paper looks solid, but the real story is that she had almost zero offensive gravity. The defense didn't shift when she had the ball. The pace didn't accelerate.
19-point win, 102-83. And let's be clear here. The bench was in the game in the fourth. We were destroying them. Clark ain't even have to come in the game after halftime.
Her presence didn't open up clean looks for teammates. Compare that to Caitlin, who with every touch of the ball created ripple effects across the floor. Defenders overcommitted. Passing lanes opened. The entire Fever offense flowed through her fingertips like a current, and we can't ignore the defensive end. Paige held her own, sure. But Caitlin? She wasn't just playing defense. She was reading passing lanes like a safety in the NFL.
10 points, 7 assists, 3 steals and a blocked shot, and a partridge in a pear tree.
5 steals in 24 minutes.
Caitlin Clark, with 10 assists and 5 steals, is the first player to reach those numbers since Caitlin Clark last year.
That's not just hustle. That's instinct, anticipation, IQ.
Caitlin Clark had 5 steals.
While Paige was scrambling to rotate, Caitlin was already intercepting. But what really separates them, the thing no stat sheet can capture, is Caitlin's command. Her ability to absorb pressure and turn it into poise. Whether she's being double-teamed, hacked off the ball, or ignored by officials, she never breaks. She leans into it. She wants that smoke. Paige? She's talented, but her role shrinks when things get physical. When the tempo rises, when the system breaks down. Caitlin thrives in that chaos. She turns it into opportunity. This game exposed a truth that's been building for a while. Paige can be a great supporting piece, but she's not the piece.
Paige Bueckers is going to win championships as the second or third best player on her team.
She needs a system built for her.
Some people gonna say that Paige is better than Caitlyn. Paige offense is made for her. Caitlyn offense hasn't been designed for her.
Teammates that space the floor just right and a rhythm that lets her operate comfortably. Caitlyn doesn't need comfort. She is the system.
She's good at times of finishing through contact, but her finishing at the basket is not really, or not even, she doesn't want to go there. She really is just a mid-range scorer.
Drop her into any scenario, and she builds a rhythm from scratch. She doesn't just play the game, she reconstructs it around herself.
If Caitlyn was in the Dallas system, she would have had 20-some points too.
And here's the final blow. Caitlin Clark didn't just outperform Paige, she disassembled the argument that they belong in the same tier. One is an exceptional player in ideal circumstances. The other is a once-in-a-generation force who dominates regardless of them. That's not a rivalry, that's a separation. And it's only getting wider.
There is a world where Paige overtakes Caitlyn in a number of years, but that world is not right now.
Now let's address something that most fans miss, but every true basketball mind understands. Greatness isn't just about putting up numbers. It's about doing it when the deck is stacked against you.
This game was an absolute blowout.
It was a performance of the ages.
CC controlled this game.
Caitlin Clark reminded everybody who she is through her playmaking.
And that's where Caitlin Clark separates herself from Paige Bueckers in a way that's almost unfair. Because Caitlin isn't just facing tough defenders, she's facing the entire league's defensive obsession. And despite it all, she's still dominating. That's what makes her different. That's what makes her historic. Let's get real. In the matchup against Paige, Caitlin wasn't just playing a team, she was playing through constant physicality.
No player in history of the league has been guarded harder without a whistle.
Hard fouls and off-ball grabbing that would have rattled most players. And we're not talking about casual defense. We're talking about defenders literally hugging her off screens, slapping her wrists on drives, and holding her jersey without a single whistle being blown. One clip showed Caitlin being fouled 3 times in a single possession before the refs finally called it. Paige? She wasn't dealing with even half of that. And yet Caitlin didn't flinch. She played through it. She adjusted her pace, drew defenders higher, created spacing with just her movement, and still generated scoring plays with surgical precision.
She got her shoulder completely scratched on a no call. She is the best guard in this league by a mile.
That's not just toughness. That's next-level basketball IQ.
She only had 2 turnovers, bro. 2 turnovers, which is good. For her to have back in her hand.
When a player can make the right decision under pressure, that's when you know you're watching greatness. Caitlin wasn't rattled. She didn't let the lack of whistles throw her off. She kept attacking, kept facilitating, kept trusting the offense. Meanwhile, Paige had the freedom to operate in space. She wasn't being face-guarded 94 feet. She wasn't blitzed at half court on every possession. Her system was set up to give her clean looks, and she took advantage. That's fine, but let's not pretend the path was equally difficult.
She's playing while getting hacked the entire game. They're not calling any fouls on her, and she's coming off an injury. Bro, 14 points, 13 assists. 13 assists, 5 steals. Clark had 5 steals.
Caitlin was doing the work of 3 players: primary scorer, floor general, and defensive tone setter. Paige had one job, score, and even then, her impact barely moved the needle. And here's the part that matters most. Caitlin Clark's performance didn't just survive under pressure, it amplified. When the refs ignored contact, she pushed harder. When her teammates missed easy buckets, she kept feeding them. When the defense collapsed on her, she made the extra pass. In one stretch, she had back-to-back plays that went steal, assist, full court dime.
You get the playmaking. Y'all see the playmaking, bro? The backdoor passes. Come on, once the 3 balls start rolling again, y'all really in trouble.
And then another assist in transition. That's domination under fire. This isn't a knock on Paige. She's solid. She works hard. But Caitlin is being held to a different standard. By the refs, by the media, by the opposing coaches. Every defensive scheme is built to contain her. Every game plan revolves around slowing her down. Every possession she touches the ball, the defense treats it like a crisis. And despite all of that, she continues to not just perform, she transforms the game. She forces coaches to burn timeouts, she breaks zone coverage, she creates panic in man-to-man, and she makes average teammates look like seasoned vets. And yet people still want to debate, still want to ask if Paige is in the same category.
This is what happens when you hand the ball to the best point guard and you just run the floor. It's simple.
Let's be honest. Paige wouldn't last 5 minutes under the kind of defensive pressure Caitlin eats for breakfast. She's not the one drawing double teams off the inbound. She's not the one getting hacked every time she moves without the ball. She's not the one being analyzed under a microscope every possession. Caitlin is.
Caitlin Clark running the show.
Caitlin Clark showed y'all. She the best that ever did it and got away with it.
And she's thriving in it. This is what greatness looks like. Not the stats, not the highlights, but the resilience. The ability to take every hit, physical and mental, and still run the show. No excuses, no protection, no shortcuts. Caitlin Clark has earned every bit of what she's becoming, and she's doing it with the weight of an entire league on her shoulders. Paige is playing basketball. Caitlin, she's fighting a war and still winning. And
this was a dominant performance all the way around. I will say this, look, like I said, Paige, you're nice. I'm not going to take nothing away from Paige. I feel like a lot of these points you scored didn't even matter.
Some point during that game, it stopped feeling like a contest and started looking like a performance. Caitlin Clark's performance.
This game was an absolute blowout.
And if you watch closely, you saw it. This wasn't just an elite player scoring points or making plays. This was a complete system being run through one person. Caitlin didn't just participate in the offense. She was the offense.
Caitlin is James Worthy's Magic Johnson. She is a better passer and scorer.
They gave Caitlin Clark the ball.
The conductor, the architect, the heartbeat.
Caitlin Clark running the offense, being the innovator of offense, the distributor of offense for the Indiana Fever.
Every single possession, every motion, every scoring burst from the Fever came back to her. This wasn't basketball. This was command.
This play was probably the standout play in the game. In my mind, Clark with the big time rejection near the rim. And then the get ahead pass to Sophie Cunningham, touchdown.
From the first quarter on, Caitlin had the Dallas Wings on strings. 1 minute, she's launching a full court touchdown pass to Sophie Cunningham.
Does that Cunningham
right here? She's going to get
she
got a block shot, throws it down for the touchdown pass to Sophie Cunningham.
Without blinking. The next, she's coming off a screen and hitting Natasha Howard in stride for a layup. Then she shifts pace, drives the lane, draws 2 defenders, and dumps it down to Aaliyah Boston for an easy finish. She wasn't reacting to the defense. She was creating the conditions of the defense. She told defenders where to stand. That's control very few players ever achieve. While Paige was looking to get her own shot off in isolation, Caitlin was moving pieces around like a chess grandmaster. She wasn't just focused on what she could do, she was thinking about what everyone else could do and positioning them perfectly.
Caitlin Clark is obviously the reason why everybody's watching the WNBA. She's the reason why all these fans are tuning in.
Nobody on this team sets screens.
Want proof? Look at the stat sheet. 5 different Fever players finished in double figures. That's not coincidence. That's Caitlin's system working flawlessly. And let's talk pace. The Fever didn't just win because of shooting or luck. They ran Dallas off the floor. The moment Caitlin grabbed a rebound or received an outlet pass, she turned into a quarterback. Eyes up, ball out. Quick trigger.
She's running the floor. She's throwing those long passes, accurate passes.
Whether it was Kelsey Mitchell streaking down the sideline or Sophie cutting baseline, Caitlin found them in stride.
Like a quarterback.
It wasn't just beautiful basketball. It was devastating efficiency. Every pass felt like a dagger.
This team played fast.
Every breakaway play chipped away at Dallas's confidence. And Paige, she wasn't part of that storm. She was caught in it. Now ask yourself, what does that mean? It means Caitlin didn't just outperform Paige, she displaced her. She shifted the narrative in real time. There was a moment in the third quarter when Paige had the ball on the wing, looking for an opening. You could feel it. She wanted a big play, a moment to prove she belonged in the same breath as Caitlin.
What an epic game. What a basketball game we seen. Caitlin Clark was ecstatic.
This is what it looks like when they let Caitlin Clark run the show.
There are levels to basketball, and there are levels between Caitlin Clark and Paige Bueckers.
I don't believe there is a team in this league that can beat the Indiana Fever.
She pulled up, drained a shot over a slower defender, and the crowd gave her a little applause. Nice move. But as they jogged back down the floor, Caitlin didn't even flinch. She took the ball, surveyed the floor, and in 4 seconds had the Fever back on the board with a backdoor assist that split 2 defenders like a laser. That wasn't just a response. That was a statement. You can score, but I control the outcome. And she did. The Wings tried everything. Zone, man, full court pressure, hard hedges. None of it mattered. Caitlin broke it all down with timing, IQ, and vision. She didn't need 30 points. She generated over 40 points through assists and scoring, all while taking only 12 shots.
9 of her assists were on open layups. She only shot 12 shots.
Do you understand how rare that is? Do you know how efficient you have to be to produce that kind of output in only 24 minutes? Paige had 21 points and 4 assists. Solid numbers, but they were empty.
Paige Bueckers passed the ball to Caitlin Clark almost as many times as she passed the ball to her teammates.
She didn't elevate her teammates. She didn't bend the defense. She didn't change the momentum. Meanwhile, Caitlin created wide open layups, energized the crowd, and turned role players into highlight reels.
Sophie been pulling up from 3. Sophie been getting steals. She been balling, man, 13, 3, and 5.
The Wings defense was constantly scrambling, not because they didn't prepare, but because they couldn't keep up with Caitlin's mind. She thinks 3 plays ahead. Paige thinks 1 shot at a time. Let's go even deeper. What happens when Caitlin gets hot? Not just scoring, but dictating. The game speeds up, the opponent panics, and her team becomes lethal. And that's what we saw. The Fever dropped 102 points, one of the highest totals this season. That's not random. That's Caitlin letting go of the brakes.
Score of the game was 83-102. The Indiana Fever came out looking like the Avengers, bro.
She's Magic Johnson with a scorer's mentality. She's a floor general who pulls defenders out of position just to make the pass more beautiful. Paige? She's a sniper, effective, clean, and efficient. But she's only as dangerous as the people feeding her the ball. Caitlin feeds everyone else. And that's why this wasn't just a win, it was a takeover. Caitlin didn't play the game. She owned it. She broke systems.
This is what it looks like when they let Caitlin Clark run the show.
Exposed defenders, elevated her teammates, and reminded every single person watching that when she's in control, it's not basketball, it's artistry. You don't compare that to anything else. You don't even try. Because what Caitlin Clark did was something Paige Bueckers has never done and may never be built to do. And deep down, everyone on that Dallas bench, and maybe even Paige herself, knew it.
Nobody who can approximate what Caitlin Clark does when it comes to her playmaking.
By now, we've covered how Caitlin Clark dominated the game. But what's even more remarkable is how she's transformed the culture. This isn't just about points, assists, or box scores anymore. This is about presence, magnitude, and what it means when one player doesn't just compete, but becomes the moment. And no matter how talented Paige Bueckers is, she simply doesn't exist on this level.
There are levels to basketball, and there are levels between Caitlin Clark and Paige Bueckers.
Let's start with visibility. When Caitlin Clark steps on the floor, it's not just another game, it's an event. Tickets sell out, celebrities pull up, social media lights up in real time, and TV ratings through the roof. The Fever Wings game wasn't just a game, it was a broadcast magnet. Every time Caitlin touches the ball, millions are watching, tweeting, reacting. Her highlights trend across platforms before the game even ends. That's not hype, that's impact.
There is no guard that is even close to being on the level of being as impactful for the totality of the game and how the game is played as Caitlin Clark. She changes everything. She makes everyone's life easier.
That's power. Now think about Paige Bueckers. She's had her share of headlines, sure. She was a college sensation, made waves early, and had a Nike deal locked in. But ever since Caitlin entered the scene, the spotlight shifted, and it hasn't come back. Paige still plays well, still gets media coverage, but it's local. Caitlin, she's global. Every move she makes is national news. Every quote, every stare down, every logo 3, it breaks the internet. Paige Bueckers plays basketball. Caitlin Clark moves culture.
Mo Salah is fantastic, but he's no prime Ronaldo.
And this isn't just about followers and clicks. It's about influence. You see kids copying Caitlin's no-look passes, her step-back threes, her transition dimes. You see WNBA vets, NBA legends, and analysts all chiming in, not just to praise her game, but to acknowledge that she's changing the conversation around women's basketball. Caitlin is bridging generations, pulling in new fans, making people who've never watched the WNBA suddenly care about it.
She showed up this game, and what happened? What happened? She beat the dog crap out of Paige Bueckers and the Dallas Wings, destroyed them from beginning to end.
She's not just playing in the league, she's redefining it. Let's also talk leadership. The Fever is one of the youngest teams in the league, and yet Caitlin, a rookie, has already become the voice. She's organizing huddles, calling out switches, dictating tempo. Veteran players defer to her judgment mid-play. Coaches are building schemes around her vision. Meanwhile, Paige, she's still trying to fit in, still waiting for moments instead of creating them. There's a difference between playing and owning the floor. Caitlin owns it, every inch of it. And when the lights are brightest, Caitlin amplifies.
Indiana Fever just put on a show.
Caitlin Clark destroyed the Dallas Wings.
Caitlin Clark in 24 minutes.
3 rebounds, 13 assists, 5 steals.
It was beautiful work all the way around.
It was a performance of the ages.
Caitlin Clark reminded everybody who she is through her playmaking.
This game was an absolute blowout.
CC controlled this game.
She knows the cameras are on, the critics are circling, the expectations are sky high, and she leans into all of it. That's pressure very few athletes can handle, let alone dominate within. Paige has had chances, big games, big moments. But where's the viral energy? Where's the cultural explosion? The difference isn't just in performance, it's in presence. One walks into a room, the other changes the room entirely. Now let's address the biggest myth, that Caitlin is just hype, just marketing, that it's the media pushing her name. Let's be clear, hype fades fast if it's not backed by production. But Caitlin's game keeps delivering. On the court, she's historic. Off the court, she's magnetic. Her jersey sales are the highest. Her name sells out arenas. She's the most searched player in the league.
Caitlin is still off on her 3-point shot. That's going to come around. I got the notion today she's starting to really get her legs.
And none of that was handed to her. She earned it. Play by play, pass by pass, moment by moment. You can't coach that. You can't manufacture it. It's rare. And that's the separation. Because while Paige Bueckers might still be trying to prove she belongs in the conversation, Caitlin Clark is the conversation. And at this point, everyone else is just trying to keep up.
If you buy into Caitlin's system, you are going to get open shots for 4 quarters if you just let Caitlin make the decisions.
Caitlin Clark didn't just win a game. She ended a conversation.
You cannot debate Caitlin Clark versus any young player until any of those young players are on a good basketball team. First of all, they need to be on a good basketball team. Second of all, they need to beat Caitlin Clark.
The second half of the season could be something to behold.
Paige Bueckers may be talented, but this matchup made one thing crystal clear. Caitlin operates on a level the rest are still chasing. From her vision and leadership to her sheer impact on every possession, there's no comparison.
Caitlin Clark has changed the game. She changed it in college and in the WNBA.
The country has fallen in love with what we have created. And America, here's the girl next door, all grown up, Caitlin Clark.
Caitlin Clark has captivated the nation, breaking scoring records in college and bringing women's basketball to a whole new audience.
She is a phenomenon.
Paige played her part. Caitlin ran the whole show. So the next time someone brings up this so-called rivalry, just remind them what domination really looks like. And if you're riding with Caitlin Clark all the way, drop that 100% in the comments because real ones know.